I can almost guarantee that nobody else around you are going to be wearing these fragrances. These aren't your best sellers that you see, on the front page of all of the big websites and stuff, right? Those are what a lot of people are wearing. A lot of people are seeking those out. And obviously, a lot of people are purchasing those, hence why they're where they're at there on the best-selling page. Instead, these are some options that are just not quite as common. So it's going to give you the opportunity to stand out a bit more. Some people want that, other people don't care. It just depends on what you're looking to get out of this hobby. But the other side of that is, even though these will allow you to stand out a little bit more, you're not necessarily sacrificing a lot of mass appeal either. They're not things that are going to be super off-putting to people. There might be one or two options in here that are a little bit more daring than usual, but for the most part, these are just pretty easy to pull off. And again, they're just something different. So I'll link all of these down below. If you have any interest in buying these, you can do so. Shopping at discounters is always the way to go. Just that way you're not spending a bunch of money at retail unless you absolutely have to. Okay, now this first one is a new release this year, but again, it already hit discounters, so you can get it below what retail is. It's Burberry Hero Parfum. It's got amyris, cedarwood, and cypriol oil. It's a very woody, cedarwood focused scent. So is the Eau de Parfum. So they have three now: the original Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, and this new Parfum. That's where we're at right now. The original was fine. Wasn't one of my favorites. The Eau de Parfum was significantly better, so I'm a really big fan of that one. And I also really like this new Parfum as well. So as I mentioned, the Eau de Parfum focuses a lot on cedarwood too. In fact, in that one, at least for marketing, they list off 3 different types of cedarwood, which is always kind of interesting. Not doing that here, but still a very, very strong cedar focus with a very, very prominent kind of slight green earthiness as well. And I think that will be coming from the cypriol oil, which is something you're seeing a little bit more here lately. It wasn't used all that often, and now it's popping up in quite a few newer designer releases. The amyris is in here, which gives it a little bit of a powdery and slightly chalky smell. And I do get a bit of sweetness as well. I'm not really sure where that would be coming from. Probably not so much from what they're listed off in the notes, but I would detect more of a tonka bean type of smell later on in the dry down that they don't list off, but very well could be there. This is yet another example of a new style, modern day men's designer scent. Just woody, kind of aromatic, a little bit green, just something really nice with a little bit of a sweetness too. I don't really see this one becoming as popular as a lot of the other releases out there, so definitely a little bonus. So I would say that this next one we're going to cover is probably the most daring within this video. It also happens to be the most expensive as well. So if you really want to take it to the next level and you have some money to spend, this is going to be a good option for you. And I'm a really big fan of this stuff. It's Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusif. It's got almond, vanilla, coffee, sandalwood, and a ton of other notes. I mean, go look this one up. There is a lot going on. Just to keep from giving it information overload, I just kind of like to pick out the notes that I pick up on the most, and that's kind of what those are. So still latent DNA, which is a vanilla, kind of apple, warm, spicy, cinnamon, tonka bean scent. Most people know it, right? So don't really need to hear too much about that. So it has that, but then it has much more of a niche interpretation. And so that's the easiest way to put this one. Layton, one of the main points of criticism for that one over the years has been it's a niche fragrance with a niche price, but it smells more or less like a designer. Fair point. So this is a niche version of Layton, essentially. Definitely amping up the uniqueness, giving it a lot more of kind of an earthiness, a bit of a smokiness from this one as well. They list off civet or civet, whichever one you prefer, which is kind of an animalic note. Don't let that scare you off too much. You really don't pick up on a ton of that. But you can kind of see what they're alluding to. When you smell this one, there are definitely some richer, heavier textures in here that was not prominent in the original Layton. So I still don't find this one to be too awfully daring. I don't think it's really hard to pull off. But compared to everything else in the video and just compared to the original Layton, it is a bit more daring. But that's what a lot of people are looking for. And with all of that in mind, it also comes in at a bit of a higher price point as well compared to the rest of the Parfums de Marly scents. So kind of sucks there. But again, if you have some money laying around and you just want a niche version of Layton essentially, this is the one to get. And it has absolutely beast mode performance as well. So while you're paying a lot for it, at least it makes up for it in that aspect. Next up, we have Armani Stronger With You Oud. So this one has oud, of course, but also that chestnut, which is used in all of the others, and then tonka, vanilla, all of that stuff. Essentially, they're just expanding this exclusive edition line. So this is technically an exclusive edition. So Stronger With You tobacco, amber, leather, and is that it? Did I get all of them? I think so. Maybe there's one more that I'm forgetting, but they're just kind of rolling these out where they're kind of trying to focus on one note. But even though they're focusing on one note, they're still tying all of these back to the original / intensely / even absolutely a little bit. So they still make sense. And don't let the oud scare you off in this one either. It's very light, it's very mild, and it's nothing to be too scared of. It's definitely a designer level oud scent. And because of that in and of itself gives it a bit of a unique edge over a lot of the other releases out there. It's just not a common note. And even just having a little bit of it, a very nice, light, mild oud, it really can set a scent out for the better. And so if you're trying to dive into this style of scent and you're kind of nervous about it, you don't know what you're going to think of oud, right? This will be a good one to start with. This is great for fall, great for winter time, and has a lot of versatility too. So Armani Stronger With You Oud, definitely a good one to check out if you want to stand out a little bit. We're going to roll over to Replica Jazz Club. So these are really cool, and I like the idea behind these. You know, you got this by the fireplace. These two are probably the most popular. And really, I mean, all they're doing is they're kind of taking a snapshot of a moment in time or a place or an experience, and then kind of building a scent around it, which is something pretty neat. I mean, they kind of describe, you know, what they want you to think of, you know, on the front of each bottle, and just the description, memory and a fragrance, right? That's something that's pretty cool. This one has rum, tobacco, and vanilla. And I guess it'd be a pretty accurate description of what a jazz club would smell like, although I've never been to one and never experienced that. You know, I would imagine that that's pretty accurate. You're getting kind of an alcohol accord in here and a smoky tobacco, and then a nice, soft, sweet vanilla. And there's more going on as well, but that's kind of the main focal point there. Really like this stuff, and I also really like By the Fireplace as well. And you could fit either of those into this video, and I think you would stand out. You know, I think this might be a little bit more popular than maybe some of the other releases, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still not going to be nearly as popular as, you know, Sauvage, Dylan Bleu, Bleu de Chanel, and just all of the other big heavy hitters, Eau de Parfum, that are dominating the charts, right? This one is still going to give you an opportunity to stand out. And because we're heading into fall and winter, this is a great choice for that time as well. I kind of catered this list more in the cooler weather direction because that's where we're going. Although I guess this next one could be seen as more of a spring and early summer scent, although could easily be worn all year round. Tom Ford Costa Azzurra. So this is, at one point, was a private blend, and then they've started to roll these out into the, you know, more affordable signature line, I think is what they call these. It's got driftwood, lemon, cypress, and I believe they threw in a little bit of incense in the dry down as well, or in the base notes. And so I've loved this stuff ever since it was a private blend, and even when it was a private blend release, it wasn't all that popular. It was severely overshadowed by all of the other big heavy hitters in the private blend line, you know, Tuscan Leather, Oud Wood, things like Amber Absolute, and then some of the fresh ones, Neroli Portofino and so on. They all just kind of shadowed over this one, and you never heard a lot about this. And it was a kind of random discovery for me. I was just browsing around and I stumbled upon it, saw the note breakdown, and I was hooked because I like marine scents, right? And I do now, and I especially did then. And what this is in a nutshell is a very high-end, expensive selling marine scent. I hesitate to call it an aquatic because it's not really watery in the traditional sense, but it does kind of have an oceanic, airy, marine type of smell, but with a lot of focus on woods. And the driftwood note is very unique. It kind of smells like a soft, musky, woody, and slightly marine, salty accord, essentially. And driftwood's been used in other fragrances, and it almost always presents in a similar way. Soft, woody, musky, and kind of salty. And that's what you get out of this one. It's premium smelling. Your usual aquatic or marine scent is pretty casual, and it could be a little bit more youthful and playful. This stuff is just dressed up, going to a business meeting, more mature, just really well put together. And that's not something very common. And so, yeah, it's a Tom Ford, and it's still a bit more expensive, but it's a really cool way to stand out. Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Parfum is up next. Now, this one basically works on that original cedar wood, cypress DNA, just woody, musky, and kind of aromatic. But then they add in some iris, which is really cool. And the way I describe this one is it's kind of like a unique take on just the way that they present the iris. So, for example, Prada L'Homme is kind of a fresh iris with a fresh base, right? It's got neroli and musk and all that stuff, and maybe some citrus off the top, and then a fresh iris. Dior Homme Intense is a sweet iris and a sweet scent overall. Go down the list of all the others. This one is kind of like a fresher base with the woods and the musk, but then a sweeter, powdery iris. So you're kind of getting a wide range of use out of this one because it's a little bit sweet and a little bit fresh. You know, it's a little bit woody and kind of aromatic and earthy, but then it has kind of a powdery, creamy sweetness as well. So you could wear this in fall and winter time. You could also wear this on spring and you know, early summer days or summer evenings or just indoors in the summertime because it just has that blend. And that's what I've liked so much about this one. Ever since day one, I first got this one in and tried it, and it was an immediate love for me. This one's been working its way down as far as price is concerned online, so definitely getting into the really affordable range. And I think for the money that this goes for, the quality is great, the performance is respectable, the blend itself is really well done. It's just a good release all around. We're going to finish this video with Mercedes-Benz Le Parfum. It's got oud, violet leaves, and amber. So another oud scent, but again, not to be too concerned about it. It's a very light oud. This one's actually a bit more fresh because of the violet leaves going on in here, which kind of gives it a green and somewhat watery smell. Moving along with that kind of nice woody, mild oud accord. Some nice amber in there. And I don't know if this is listed off, but I do pick up on almost like a suede, leathery feeling too. You can kind of get that a little bit. More so the texture and how this one presents. It just kind of has a silky leather feeling, which is a nice little touch. When this one is in stock at a normal price, it's usually around $40 to $45. I think I've seen lately where sometimes it's kind of out of stock or, a little bit weird. So don't know if there's becoming an issue with this one or if it's just they can't get enough of it right now. But if you can get a bottle of this for, I would say, $50 or less, it's a really good purchase. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 7 fragrances that nobody else around you is going to be wearing. These are a great way to stand out and smell better than everyone else too. I will link them all down below so you can try them out. If you're wanting to pick up some fragrance samples, we're offering those on our website. You can hit the first link down below. We send out free samples with every order as well. It's kind of broadening the horizons there for you to try more stuff. And we're adding to the website every day. So our selection is not huge right now, but we're working on it. So I guess we need to hear from you as well. What do you want to see us add? What do you want to sample that we don't have yet? That's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.